Okay, so let me screenshot for the inverse trig functions and then we'll get into it. So it's pretty much the same thing, just without the picture that goes with it. So we're going to find all angles in degrees this time, just degrees, no radians, that satisfy the equation below to the nearest tenth of a degree. So we're going to have sine of theta is equal to -1/2. So remember that sine is your y value. Could have just written y, but I wrote y value. So remember that last time I told you you can draw a horizontal line. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to draw a horizontal line at the y value of 1/2. So I found a -1/2 here. Sorry, I meant to say -1/2 because it's a negative. And I'm going to draw this horizontal line, see where else it hits. Right over there, you find another y value of -1/2. And then you can just read it off the unit circle. We have 210 and 330. These are the two spots on the unit circle where you have a y value of -1/2. Any questions on this one? Okay, let's enter this in. 210 and 300. What? What just happened? Why did that happen? How weird. Okay, anyways, it was 210 and 300. There we go. Oop. Oh, it's 330. I don't know how I typed 300 or why I typed that. We like just marked that it was 330 and then I kept saying 300. My bad. There we go. Okay, next problem. Okay, so now we have this like really weird one that's not on the unit circle, but that's okay because we have a calculator. So just so you guys know, the calculator is, let me point to it. Right over here, this button, we're gonna use this calculator, okay? So what are we going to type in the calculator? They gave us a tangent, so you want to type tangent inverse of negative radical 26 over 6. So this is what we're going to type into the Delta Math calculator. If you have your own calculator, that totally works too, but I don't know how to standardize that. So I'm going to show you on Delta Math calculator. So press the calculator, not prick it. I was trying to say click and press at the same time. I said prick. Okay. So to get to the part where you can type tangent inverse, you're going to press this button. Okay, so the functions button. So that's where you're going to press. So I press functions, and then you can see that there's inverse sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent. We're going to press inverse tangent. And then inside the inverse tangent, let's go back to the numbers. Okay, type negative radical 26 over 6. And then it gives us negative 40.359 over here. Gives us this answer. Cool, so we got one of our answers, it seems, right? Except that they want our answers between 0 and 360. So this is not what we want yet, but we're gonna figure it out, it's okay. So for this one, we have a negative 40 degrees. Just kind of in your head, visualize where the negative 40 would be. So here's 0. To go to a negative 40, you just gotta go downwards between 30 degrees and 45, somewhere over here. It doesn't matter how accurate you are, just I need you to visualize which part of your unit circle it is. Like, is it in this quadrant? Is it in this quadrant? just kind of visualize the quadrant. That's kind of the main point. So if you got the quadrant in there, it's good enough. There is your negative 40.35 degrees. So this angle that I just marked over here, this is 40.359, right? It goes downwards by 40.359. However, like we said, we wanted it to be between 0 and 360. So the way you get this measurement to be between 0 and 360 is you literally just add 360 to it. So I'll say that again because I just saw that I was lagging. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, so it says negative 40, but if we want it between 0 and 360, add 360 to it. So let's round it to the nearest tenth so I don't have to write so much. Negative 40.4, and then you just do plus 360. Okay, and the reason for that is if you're on a circle and you're at negative 40.4, but you go around 360 more degrees, you're back where you started from. It's the same spot. And I know I'm lagging right now, so I'll repeat that once it catches up. It's still not caught up yet. I'm so sorry. There you go. There's the arrow I drew like 5 minutes ago. Just kidding, it wasn't 5 minutes. But yeah. So what I was trying to say was you add 360 to it so that when you go around the circle, which is 360 degrees, you end up at the exact same spot. So you can add 360 to get something called a coterminal angle. You haven't learned that term, but the point is add 360 so that you get a number between 0 and 360. So if you add it together, you get 319.6 degrees. So this is going to be one of your answers. 319.6. Okay. Now, yeah, so it's 0.6 because when you have 360 and then you subtract 40.4, it ends up as 319.6. Did I do that right? Let me type it in a calculator. 360 minus 40.4. Yeah, 319.6. Okay, and then remember this is not the only point that works. I know that's like frustrating, but then you have to go for tangent and cotangent. You want to reflect it onto the other side. I'm just going to do this in a different color just so that it's, I don't know. You can see the work in a different color. No, that doesn't look right. There we go. Somewhere in between there. My lines are so not straight. I'm so sorry. But as long as you know it's on the other side of the unit circle. And then since it's reflected, this angle should also be like 40.359. Okay, so tangent, you want to use the diagonal line. So you want to go all the way across to the other side of the unit circle and then know that the angle that I marked in blue is the same angle that is marked in red over here. They're both 40.359. Any questions about the diagonal I drew? Okay, so then we need to find out the angle measurements of this blue spot. So we know that here is 180, and we know that between the 180 and the angle we want is 40.359 going backwards. So in order to get this blue spot, we're going to do, I'll just write it over here, 180 minus 40 point, rounding it, is just 40.4. And then let's use a calculator so we don't mess up. 180 minus 40.4, and then you get that that's 139.6 degrees. So this would be your other answer. So once again, I got that because we know that this blue angle right over here is 40.359, aka 40.4. And then we know that we're comparing it to the 180 over here. So you do the 180, you go backwards 40.4. So 180 minus 40.4, and you get 139.6. Okay. Questions on this one? I know this is a challenging section. Oops, I asked if you guys had questions. You probably didn't hear that. I said I know this is a challenging section. I know it's extra frustrating because I'm lagging like every 5 seconds. So I apologize. Okay, I'm gonna take a picture of this so I can type it in because I'm not gonna remember if I don't. The numbers are too similar. It's like 1s, 3s, 9s, and 6s. Okay, let's enter this in. The two answers, we got 319.6, 139, 139.6. Okay, let's do one more. I think we have enough time to do one more. I just know that this is a hard section, so I want to make sure we do it. So we have cosine of theta is equal to -3/4. And so, oops. Let me type that into the calculator. So they gave us a cosine. So the function that we want to type is an inverse cosine. So C is a cosine with a -1 on it. And then now I'm going to type, oops, back. Okay, there we go. -3/4. Screenshot that. Okay, so now we can see that the answer they gave us is 138.59. Let's round it. That's like 138.6. I'm just going to round it now because it just makes it easier. I don't have to write so many numbers. So we type in the calculator, we get one of our answers. Remember, there's two. So let me mark where 138.6 is. It's somewhere here. And I know that because it's between 135 and 150. So I just put it on the unit circle over there, just between. Doesn't need to be accurate. Doesn't need to be super accurate. So this is our 138.6. Okay. Questions about that part so far? Let me just box that because that's one of our answers. Now let me remind you that cosine is an x value and that we want to draw a vertical line for this. So let's draw a vertical line through our points that we just got. Okay, and you can see that there is another spot on the unit circle where we will have the same x value, and it's just on that bottom part. Okay, and so we need to figure out what that angle is. So in order to figure out what this angle is, let me just connect it to the center. We can see that there are two congruent triangles that are formed. Let me just highlight the triangles. We have this triangle and we have this triangle. Right? Oh, you can't even see. Just kidding. I was so focused on drawing it that you can't even see. Okay, we have that triangle and that triangle. I said that really fast because I saw my video was catching up. Okay, so we got those two triangles, the top one and the bottom one, and they are congruent. So we're going to figure out what this angle, let me draw, this angle is. So we know that over here on this flat line it's 180. And we know that on this line we have 138.6, right? 138.6 degrees, according to our calculator. So in order to get the angle between 180 and 136, we're going to subtract 180 minus 136. Wait, 38.6, I wrote that wrong. 180 minus 138.6. So I know I'm lagging really badly, and also some of you are lagging really badly. I will post these videos after class. I'm so sorry that I'm sorry about all of this. I don't even know what else to say. I'm sorry, guys. So we're gonna subtract 180 minus 138.6, and I'm doing that on a calculator. I get 41.4 degrees. So this angle right here is 41.4 degrees. And so since these are congruent triangles, we also have over here on this blue angle, it's the same thing as 41.4. So what we can do is take the 180 in order to get to this blue point that I'm just now making blue. In order to get to that, we need to first wait for me to stop lagging. Okay, there we go. Now I'm stopped lagging. So I'm going to do the same process, or like use that to get the blue point on the bottom. So we know that this angle on the bottom is 41.4 also, because they're congruent triangles. And so to get to our blue point, we're going to start with the 180. And then we're going to go further by 41.4. So 180 plus 41.4. Okay. And then that brings us to 221.4. So at this blue spot over here, our angle is 221.4. So that would be our second answer. Our first answer was the one the calculator gave us, which is 138.6. Our second answer is 221.4. And once again, I apologize so much for the internet. And I know this is like the worst day to have internet lagging. You're like tired, it's a Friday, it's probably your last class, and this is a hard section. So I will put this video online right after class. Anybody have questions on the problem? Okay, I'm gonna take a picture of this because I'm not gonna remember these numbers. And then I'll put it into Delta Math. Okay, so our two answers were 138.6 and 221.4. Okay. Let's see if, yeah, no, I want to do one more. I want to do a sine. Give up. Next problem. Give up. I want to get a sine or a cosecant, whichever one they give us. Hello. There we go. Okay, so here's a sine. Oh, I forgot to enter it in here. So when you have a sine, you're going to not type an inverse cosine, not type an inverse tangent. You're going to type an inverse sine. So inverse sine, and then in here, you're going to put, oh wait, I'm lagging. Ah, so frustrating. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, I said put an inverse sine because they gave us a sine. And then we type in to our inverse sine, the -7/9, and they gave us one of our answers. So let's see what our answer is that they gave us when it stops lagging. It gives us -51.05. Let's just round that right now. -51.1. Okay, but remember this is a negative number and it's lagging. Sorry. Sorry. I apologize profusely. Okay, did it stop lagging? Okay, so once again, this is a negative number, but you want an answer between 0 and 360. So what do? We add 360 to it. Negative 51.1 plus 360. And then we get, I'm just going to do this all in a calculator. 360 minus 51.1. Wait, 360 minus 51. 308.9. So here's one of our answers, 308.9. So I'm going to mark this somewhere in our unit circle. It's between 300 and 315, so that's all I need to know. Right there. Okay, and so over here, I want to remind you guys that sine is your y value. And so when you're testing out where else has the same y value, you draw a horizontal line. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line through here. And you can see that there is somewhere else on the unit circle that has the same y value. We just have to figure out where that is. So let me first mark this one. We're going to just draw those triangles again. Two congruent triangles. There we go. Okay, so here we have two congruent triangles. Let me mark our first one. Here's our first triangle. That's one of them. And then here's our other triangle. They are congruent because it is just a reflection. Okay, so for our first triangle, we know that this one is 308.9. And then we just need to find out this angle. And the way we find out that angle is, well, we know this one's at 270. So what's the difference between 270 and 308.9? Let's figure it out. So I'm going to do 308.9 minus 270, and I get 38.9. So this angle is 38.9. And you cannot see that because it's lagging, and I apologize again. I'm so sorry. Okay, so what I was trying to say, is it done lagging yet? I can't tell because my chat's in the way. Okay, no, it's not done lagging yet. My image has not caught up. Okay, so what I was trying to say was you find this angle right here by subtracting the 308.9 and the 270, because this one's 270 and this one's 308.9. So if you want to find the angle between them, you subtract it. So I subtracted and I got 38.9. So I labeled it right over here, 38.9. So if that one is 38.9, then this one must also be 38.9. Okay, so if we know that here is 270 and we want to get to this blue point, we can, and we know that there are 38.9 apart, going backwards, you can take the 270 and subtract 38.9. And so that's what we're going to do to get to that point. So subtract from the 270 and you get 231.1 degrees. And so that would be our second answer. So I know I lagged. So you guys have questions? I'm sorry, I feel like our entire class today was just me trying to explain through lagging, and so therefore we don't really have much time after to do the stuff. I could extend the homework due date to be Tuesday, just to give you more time so you can ask more questions on the day. I'm not sure. I mean, it's ready due Monday night. We'll see on Monday. If you guys need more time, I'll just give you guys more time, okay? But Yeah, any questions on these two or this one after I lagged so much? Okay, I'm gonna take a picture of my answers and I'm gonna submit them. Okay. So we had 230, that's not how you type, 231.1308.9 and submit. Okay. Now let's go back. Oh yeah, and let me end the recording for this one. Oh wait, you can't even see that I submitted the problem. Wait, can you? Oh no, you can, okay. All right, I'm gonna end this recording.